So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today in this webinar on Cheetah Manufacturing, our ready-to-deploy solution with SAP S/4HANA Cloud. And with me, I have our guest from SAP, David Koenig. He's industry solution principal with deep expertise and experience in industrial manufacturing to join us today. And Dan Lemazny was supposed to join us and host this on behalf of ASAR Digital. To his travel conflict, I'm filling in for him. So just kind of quickly, I'll just go through agenda. And so, as I say, my Singh, I'm the president and CEO of ASAR Digital. I'm also a SAP Press author. I've been in SAP ecosystem for more than 25 years, and I have done many ERP implementations. So I fully understand the challenges involved and how SAP has been helping companies transform and automate their processes with SAP ERPs. But today we talk specifically about SAP S/4HANA Cloud. So before we go into this, I will let David introduce himself, and then we'll talk about steps.
All right, Sanjeev, thank you very much, and it's an honor for me to be doing this session with you. When I started at SAP, some of the SAP press books that we were using on the CX side, you authored those, so that's kind of interesting to see, where you've gone and kind of how you're progressing. So my name is David Koenig. I have been with SAP now for about 7 years, covering the industrial manufacturing space. Prior to this, my career was mostly in the high tech and wholesale spaces, but came over to SAP and have been working first on the CX side, supporting industrial manufacturers. Then about 4 years ago, I moved over to the industrial manufacturing and now industrial manufacturing and aerospace and defense industry business units, where I'm focused specifically on working with solution adoption and kind of next generation products or in our S/4HANA Public Cloud ERP system, specifically targeted towards the mid-market and how SAP defines that. We've got a couple of brands that kind of fight in the lower space, or SAP by design would be something that's coming in for the small businesses. And then we've kind of identified a sweet spot where working with partners like ASAR Digital, we are able to provide SAP level capabilities into that mid-market space. So that's what I'm working on, and it's what I'm here to talk about today.
Thank you, David. Looking forward to our conversation. So before we go into the details, I love this slide, just kind of gives a perspective that, everybody, when it comes to large manufacturing companies, they are running SAP ERP. They all understand the power delivered by SAP ERP in terms of like running end-to-end business process, like manufacturing, or there's order management, or supply chain, warehouse management. But many people, I talk to many business owners, a lot of my business friends are business owners who run small manufacturing facilities, not only in the US, but all over the world. And the moment they think of SAP, they think, oh, it's only for large enterprise. And that's one myth which I want to tell people, that when you think about SAP, you might be thinking about SAP from 90s. Nowadays, like most of the new customers SAP has, they are all from the mid-market growing companies who have started the companies, they quickly grew, and then soon they started feeling the challenges of how do they manage their processes and how do they automate their processes. And that's where they come to SAP. We have a saying here in SAP that we never grow out of SAP when you run your business on SAP S/4HANA. Okay, so as you can see here, that all these like Gartner, IDC, and Forrester, they have all given SAP all this accolades that they are the SAP S/4HANA Cloud solution is the #1 solution in that space for the mid-market companies. And where we come into the picture is that, of course, we have a SAP solution, but then how do we make sure that our solution is ready to deploy for the manufacturing companies so that they can get the value out of their investments in the fastest possible time. And today, what we're going to talk about, that we have built this solution, which is specifically designed for S/4HANA Public Cloud for the mid-market companies so that they can get up and running on S/4HANA in a matter of weeks rather than multiple months. Okay, so that's the message I want to drive here, that SAP has a solution, and then with ASAR Digital, we have a ready-to-deploy package, which these mid-market companies can leverage to get up and running and get this. Literally, they can fast track their digital transformation using our solution, which we call Cheetah Rapid Deployment Package. Right? So before we talk about the solution, just quickly talk about ASAR Digital, who we are. So we are SAP certified gold partner here in US. Our focus area is predominantly around ERP and customer experience, and then we leverage SAP BTP to connect the dots between not only around the SAP system, but also like non-SAP systems which our customers are running. As I said earlier, I'm also a SAP Press author. I've written books on SAP. So we're based here outside Chicago, suburb called Lisle, and we have our offshore delivery center in India, just outside Delhi, a place called Noida. Okay, so if I have to tell you what are our key differentiators at ASAR Digital as a partner of SAP, there are three areas where we believe that we have really unique differentiator compared to any other partners out there. The first and foremost is our ASAR Shield. So ASAR Shield is basically a guarantee we extend to our customers, whoever and wherever we implement SAP S/4HANA or any SAP solution for, we guarantee our implementation with the lifetime performance and lifetime warranty and the managed services support to our customers. So whenever we implement, say, a manufacturing company, we implement S/4HANA Cloud, we tell the customer that when you go live, till the end of the license term, whether that is 3-year or 5-year, all your managed services support as part of the initial scope are all covered by ASAR Digital. So you really don't have to have a separate managed services contract to just use the application. So that's our ASAR Shield. We are the first partner to offer this service, not only in SAP, but even entire software ecosystem. I don't think there's any other company who guarantees their implementation with a lifetime free support. And then second is what we specialize most in our Cheetah Rapid Deployment packages. We have built packages for not only for S/4HANA, but other SAP solutions like CX solutions for sales, service, e-commerce. And what that gives us, our customers, that the fixed scope, fixed timeline, fixed budget implementation packages, which they can leverage to get up and running on SAP as quickly as possible. Okay. And then the third one is you see the SNJYA. As I mentioned earlier, that we leverage BTP to extend SAP application across the business processes, which customers are looking for outside the scope of S/4HANA or even CX. So what we have done is SNJYA is one solution we have built in SAP BTP, which our customers can leverage to get up and running, whether they want a customer portal or they want a vendor portal for their customers, or even their customer self-service portal. The other solutions available under the SNJYA solution, which is again built in SAP BTP. So that's our, I would say, the key differentiators when it comes to partnering with SAP and taking that partnership to our customers. We have been Inc. 5000 fastest growing company for the last 2 years. And we focus, as I said, specifically on SAP. We don't do anything other than SAP. And then within SAP ecosystem, then we focus on very specific industries. As you can see here, manufacturing has been one of our key competencies, along with wholesale distribution, consumer products, industrial machinery, professional services, automotive supplies. These are all the industries where we specialize in for our solutions, whether it's SAP S/4HANA Cloud or it's CX solutions. So now getting into the whole manufacturing, and this is where I will lean on to you, Dave. If you can just kind of give us some overview that what are some of the challenges you see that why these fast growing manufacturing companies are looking for the digital transformation, what they're not able to do currently, and where do you see SAP is kind of helping them in their journey?
Right. Thanks, Sanjeev. I'm going to set the table, just talk about industries in general for a second. So as most people know, SAP has been around for about 50 years. We've always been in the enterprise resource planning space. I would say that we've kind of invented the kind of out-of-box ERP type of solution. So we've taken that 50 years of understanding, and largely it's been with manufacturing companies, but we do go to market across 22 different industries. There's about 6 different industries that we consider product-centric, and And then one of those industries is the one that I cover, industrial manufacturing. Within there, you can see we divide up into 5 different industry subsegments. You can see a lot of blue chip brands, some kind of I'm going to call them household brands, but they're industry, of course. And these are definitely the companies that are, making our kind of modern world possible, whether it's in the energy and power space, the transportation space, automation solutions, industrial machinery and components themselves, and then finally heavy equipment, which I guess, you can see some different brands in there that you'd see at construction sites, Caterpillar or whatnot. I do want to say that we've got about 12,200 customers in our manufacturing install base, and typically about 80% of those are actually from the mid-market and lower space. So it might seem like SAP only plays with the big guys, but you can see that we kind of branched out, or we reached down into mid-market quite well. Let's go ahead to the next slide, and we'll talk about some of the trends we're seeing in the industry. Okay, so within industrial manufacturing, we're seeing 5 different priorities that are happening with our customers. So the first one is simplifying and scaling operations, whether or not this is entering a new country, a new market, something like this, or just organically handling growth within your industry as you sign up more customers for your products. The next is developing digitally enabled and connected industrial assets. This is where hot topics like IoT, digital twins are going to fit in. So understanding now that we've got a connected, digitally driven product in an industry where we might not have had this before, what can we do with that? What additional services can we provide? What additional information we as a manufacturer can pull off of this equipment so we can improve our next iteration of a product? Finally, reestablishing resilient supply chains, networks, and smart factories. So this is all about being able to be responsive to changes in supply chain, geopolitical risks, changes in customer demand. And we've seen so much of this really since 2020, both in supply chain disruptions around getting anything from chemicals needed to make the foam that goes into seats and cars to chips and stuff that go into every product that we're using these days. Being able to respond, sign up a new foresee constraints within a supply chain, and then sign up different suppliers to make sure to work around those. Offering customer-centric solutions and services. Really, if you go back to 2008, when we were in that financial crisis, we saw a lot of manufacturers, when we saw capital equipment expenditures go down, they realized that it was that aftermarket parts and service that they could still continue to maintain revenue through. So this is making sure that all manufacturers are in the ability to not just rely on their channel partners to service the equipment, but those manufacturers getting into service themselves and offering things that only a manufacturer could offer. Things like instead of necessarily financing or leasing products, why don't we just sell the output of that machine? So if you're, let's say, a bottling machine, instead of just paying the lease on it or financing that machine, you're paying for the output of it. So that new energy drink that you've invented and now is a really hot commodity, being able to scale up and build that without too much capital expenditure as somebody that's using that machinery. And then finally, sustainability, circularity, and don't think about this as simply as just things like carbon accounting and making sure that we're doing everything that we need to do for regulatory. Think about this also from a point of view of what sort of cost savings can we have by recycling, refurbishing equipment, reusing what we can. Think about it more holistically and not just kind of like with the headlines coming from things like legislation in the European Union. All right. So to achieve this, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay. To achieve this, to really the way that the SAP has chosen to go to the market with our ERP solutions is we've come up with the Grow with SAP program. And this is taking our public cloud, kind of our fit to standard, out of the box capabilities, basically made out of a nice list of exhaustive best practices or scope items. Those are going to be implemented. They're things that we, using our 50 years of experience, have determined are important to our customers by listening to them, working with them on previous implementations. We took that sort of capabilities, packaged it. That's how we're going to be simplifying our manufacturers' everyday work and whatnot. We're able to support growth, of course, because you don't want to be necessarily spending too much money on your in previous SAP world, you would be spending a lot on app custom development, but being able to grow your business with the talent that you have, let's say, using the latest and greatest cloud-based capabilities. Sanjeev, you mentioned something called BTP. That's SAP's business transformation platform. And that's really our cloud platform where any customization that isn't included in these scope items can be accomplished. And finally, SAP wants to be there. ASAR Digital wants to be there by your side, making sure that you're ready to go with your go live and whatnot. That's also included within the Grow program. So I'd like to turn it back over to you so we could continue.
Yeah, so just one question I have, David, follow up with, because
Sure.
I get this question many times from the customer that I know there are these standard business processes which are part of SAP S/4HANA, and then customers have some of their unique secret sauce, which they would like to say, okay, how do I make sure that I have these functionalities available in this new ERP? So we definitely tell them that those extensions or those enhancements we do in BTP, but it's something if you can just give us more like, what is the SAP vision? Where SAP is trying to go with that approach?
So we like to say, we talk about the clean core when we talk about public cloud. So the great thing about public cloud is you're always on the latest version. It's automatically updated. We do a couple releases a year. There's a couple of interim releases that happen as well that will release minor improvements. We like to leave that alone and just let that run, because if you're running a standard business process, accounts receivable is going to be accounts receivable as you go from manufacturer to manufacturer. Overall, those processes are going to be the same. But if there is something unique, so let's say that you've come up with a particular challenge, and I'll mention one of our customers. It's Smart Press Shop. It's basically an automotive stamping operation. They had a opportunity, let's say, or an innovation that they wanted to provide. They're making basically bespoke body panels. It's a stamping operation that can quickly change because they're doing low production runs on for high-end Porsche cars, or Porsche vehicles would be the example. It's owned by Porsche and a company called Schuler. One of the things that they've done, a separate innovation that they've developed themselves, is basically automated the visual inspection process. So you've got a work instruction that shows up all digitally. Of course, this is served up on a screen in front of the person that's doing it, but where are they going to apply the glue or take some sort of action? That's great. Hopefully they do it, because they're not doing this repeatedly, or they're doing this in a low volume run. Then they'll have a digital camera snap a photo of that and do an analysis using AI to make sure that they're compliant. And then that compliance, that this part was created correctly, that of course gets recorded. The quality check gets recorded in the ERP system. So you can see they did something like that. You could use a platform like BTP to do that. Ideally, what's wonderful about the BTP platform and innovating there, as opposed to going off and doing it on something like an AWS, which of course you could do, is it already has the hooks into the ERP that you need. So let's say that you mentioned you wanted to do something like portals before. If I wanted to see, real-time availability or near real-time availability, I could go out to my ERP system and pull in the data that I need to make that presentable and actionable by that person using that portal. Of course, all the capabilities are there. We've got some other kind of low-code, no-code things going on that are available that can make it so nearly a business user, if they wanted to, nearly a business user could implement something like that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And as you said, like ERP, they keep core clean so that you're always on the latest and greatest. And those hooks, whatever then we are like kind of consuming, those hooks are remaining intact with those upgrades. So basically for customers, like literally like they're always on the latest version of ERP software from SAP.
Yeah, but they're not giving up their ability to innovate, as you said. They can continue doing their secret sauce. So that's what's great about this, the way that we've architected the two solutions together.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so next one we'll just quickly talk about. So just kind of taking on to what they mentioned, that, okay, we have this program called Grow. So SAP is trying to make it easier for the customer to migrate to S/4HANA public cloud solution. And we at ASAR here is kind of making sure that we are doing everything, whatever is needed from the services side, to get customer the value out of the SAP S/4HANA cloud as quickly as possible. So what we have done is we have built this implementation packages. We codenamed the Cheetah Rapid Deployment Package. And what we have done is we have used this our own, like we call like build smart and run simple methodology, which is nothing but more like a mix of, you can say, agile and waterfall approach. So definitely, since this is based on all the standard best practices, so what we do is during our discovery phase, when we are positioning the solution to our customers, we just kind of do all the scoping and define what needs to be done. And then we go into the next, which is a plan and prepare. This is where we kind of look at all your processes, map to the standard processes, and see if there are any gaps or anything which we need to build as a part of the BTP. And then the key here is that, which is different than traditional ERP implementation, is that we don't just blueprint and then we go and configure and come back to you after a few weeks or a few months. Here we are literally iteratively configuring the system and coming back to you on a weekly basis, showing you all the processes and how system is configured, how system is designed, and then how your processes are going to run in the system. So literally your business users are seeing the system as we are building this on a weekly basis. So this is one of the key differentiators what we have built here, which implementing ERP, which is like a non-traditional, but more like a modern agile approach what industry is going towards right now. And then of course, once we have done the whole build phase, then UAT becomes more like just kind of checking the boxes, because you have already seen the system, we have already run through all the processes. Before we deploy, we just make sure that yes, everything is working as expected. We deploy the solution, and then as you can see here, go live and support. That's where our ASAR shield comes in, that we provide all your support with the initial scope of the solution till the term of the license. So that's whole as a part of our Cheetah deployment package. And with that, what we have done is we have built these packages for specific industries. So along with manufacturing, of course, we have for professional services and wholesale distribution, and that includes our ASAR Shield guarantee. So right now we have two packages, with the starter pack and professional pack. As you can see here, there are our 150 and 199K. That's the pricing. And of course, this does not include the licenses. So depending on the number of users, we will work with you to define all the processes we'll implement, and then we'll have SAP license plus this package solution from SAP, from ASAR for implementing S/4HANA Public Cloud. So this was my last slide. How are we doing with the time? I think we have a couple of minutes, Dave. Maybe we can take some questions. I'm not sure if we have any questions in the chat. So let me
Let me go take a look. One moment. Okay, I'm going to take this one right now. Okay. How can manufacturers leverage advanced technologies like AI, IoT, and automation to improve efficiency and productivity? I sort of mentioned that. I kind of went off the rails a little bit when I started talking, just because it's cool to me. I really like the Smart Press Shop case. But there's a few things a few innovations in public cloud that AI based, but they're very close to home. Let's say they're not far reaching. So one of the more recent ones that we've had is the ability to leveraging AI capabilities. We're able to take invoices and break them down automatically, so that the person that's working in accounting and making sure that the invoice gets processed appropriately, they're not having to do that manually. They're basically, the human being is there to manage more or less by exception. So the automatically we're going to digest that invoice, make sure that everything is appropriately labeled and tracked, pull that into the ERP, make sure that it's processed. But if there's an exception, the person's going to be there. One of the ones that came out of the finance area, let's say, one of the ones that is more interesting to me because it came out of my own team in our own area. My colleague Bill DeWitt, who's one of the solution managers on our team, was providing voice of industrial manufacturing for this one, called intelligent product recommendations. And what that does is we have a problem within manufacturing and kind of that lead to cash flow, where we've got potentially salespeople that are in the field, but these salespeople tend to churn. We've got a lot that are retiring and leaving the industry, and we've got a lot of new people that are coming up, and they might not necessarily have their product knowledge fully brought up to speed. They might not necessarily have their customer knowledge brought up as well. So intelligent product recommendations looks at the characteristics of the customer, as well as the order history of configurable products that were produced within that space over the last decades, possibly. Looks at all that information, takes it, and then produces a configuration recommendation. So if you were trying to sell a pump to a dairy, for instance, that configuration, after we know what kind of customer it is, that will be automatically suggested with all the right parameters within that product. That's something that initially it's on the roadmap for public cloud. We've already released it though to kind of like an early adoption on the on-prem solution. So that's the type of AI innovations that we're seeing. As far as IoT, that gets more over into the management of asset spaces. I don't have any cool stories there, and I think I'm running over on time. So.
Yeah, no problem. No, thank you, David. So I think this was just kind of a good kind of a teaser into this manufacturing solution based on S/4HANA Public Cloud. We'll be scheduling some more sessions. We will be walking through the individual processes. Okay, and then so our team will be sharing those details on the dates and time when we'll have our next sessions. But I would like to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope this was useful, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.